Radio station. Yeah, just good morning. How is everybody? Right.
Good morning, everyone. I have 9 o'clock, and we want to honor everyone's time, so we will get started this morning. I do want to note that the meeting notice for this meeting was properly posted on October 7th, 2022, and we are in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. At this time, we will call the meeting, call the roll, and I think we're just going to do that verbally. So, Pastor Douglas, if you would start.
Hey, Douglas here.
Chris Steele here.
Erin Engelke here.
Derek Scobie here.
Leslie Nesmith here.
Ryan Haney here.
Fantastic. I see a quorum. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda item number 1 is discussion and possible action regarding the resignation of CAB member Pastor Derek Scobie due to an appointment to the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority. Pastor Scobie, I would recognize you if there's anything that you would like to say or add.
Well, as I shared via email with you and Lynn, I did not think I was going to be able to make it due to the reason I told you, but I pressed through to be here this morning. I am very grateful to have had the opportunity to serve alongside of you, each of you, and I feel like we've gotten a few things accomplished. So I'm just thankful. Ryan, I don't know why I want to pick you out of the bunch. That I'm just really thankful for something that transpired right here on this horseshoe about 5 or 6 weeks ago that you did, and we can see we see now what has happened because of what you made a motion to do, and that's to appoint Adam Luck. I would recommend Adam Luck, and I'm just excited about that. So thank you for that. Thank you to each of you just for everything, and I'm just looking forward to the days to come. I do believe that in the particular seat that I'm in on the jail trust, that I will have the privilege to recommend someone to this. I'm not going to talk about who that is at this point, but I look forward to you all serving alongside of that person as well. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Lynn, for keeping me.
Out of hot water, yeah. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for your service. We could not be more excited about both your appointment and Adam's appointment to the jail trust. We know that you all will continue to provide extraordinary and exemplary leadership. So we thank you for that, and we look forward to serving alongside and embracing whomever you appoint to this advisory board.
final thing I would like to say to each and every one of you on this cab, you have a larger voice than sometimes I think that we know. And I just challenge each of you collectively to use the voice that you have.
Yes, sir. Is there discussion, rejection of the resignation? Make that motion. Seeing, Hannah?
I just want to say thank you again, and I arrived late and heard part of your comments, Pastor Scobie. But what an exciting thing to see you and Adam both serving on the jail trust, and we know you'll do awesome things on that body. So thanks for your service.
Just amazing. Okay, we will need to vote to accept the resignation.
Well, motion. Oh, it's been motioned. It looks like I've seconded.
There is a
I
motion.
jumped the gun.
Good.
Not because I'm anxious for you to
Yeah.
leave. I feel kind of weird. I know. I was like, I don't want this to. Aaron's like, I'll do it.
You should have bragged on Aaron, not Ryan. There is a motion and a second. The voting is now open.
Motion passes.
The motion passes. Pastor Scobie, thank you. Agenda item number 2.
You may stay, but you shouldn't.
Yeah,
participate in
I will
conversation.
abstain. I won't say another word.
Agenda item number 2 is public comment. I have not received any notice or request for public comment. Seeing none. Agenda item number 3 is discussion and possible action to approve our minutes from the September 14th meeting. Is there discussion? Seeing no discussion, there is a motion and a second.
I missed my opportunity to say yes. I'm not sure what I did. But I approve.
Can we make sure that Aaron is recorded as affirmative? The motion passes. Agenda item number 4 is discussion and possible action regarding the monthly report and current data pertaining to the Oklahoma County Detention Center from Director Williams and or his designee. And I do not see anyone present to provide that report.
May need to pass. Perhaps.
We will go on to agenda item number 5, which is discussion and possible action regarding focus group discussions with individuals detained in the Oklahoma County Detention Center. I do want to note, and I will also bring this up with the proper entities, with Mr. Williams and his staff, but it's been more of a challenge than what we had anticipated initially. Had a conversation with Director Williams, and just as a reminder, we had a discussion and collectively felt like there was value in members of this body going into the detention center and speaking directly to those individuals who are detained there, to get a firsthand account of what they are seeing, what they are experiencing, and how they are feeling. I had the initial conversation with Director Williams, and he was very, very accommodating and said, just come right on. And I think in the first meeting, by way of reminder, Aaron and Hannah and I went. On the second meeting, we can't have more than 3 go at a time so as not to violate any sort of quorum. But we had scheduled for the next round Leslie, myself, and June Elkins Baker. And that meeting got rescheduled. We rescheduled it a second time. And 24 hours prior to it got rescheduled again, and we are tentatively scheduled to go this week, this Thursday, but now we're subject to background checks.
Oh.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say it feels like that there are some additional roadblocks that are being imposed on the notion for us to go in and have the kind of conversations that at least we had talked about hoping to have. So maybe it's just an area of confusion, but it feels a little suspect today.
Who's requiring the background check and who imposed the background?
So the process has been this. Thank you for asking so that we can have this conversation. Director Williams said, you guys come. What's the rhythm that you would want to come? And I said at least once a month. And he said that would be no problem. And he had directed us to work through Mac Mullings, just for scheduling purposes. He said it's approved, and so I said that's great. Love Mac. I love Mac to pieces. And started working with Mac, and he's like, well, I don't know. I'll have to go ask. I have to ask. And he says the brass. And so when he asked, it's yes, but then it's being rescheduled sort of at the last minute. And then most recently he said, well, I'll ask and then make sure that you give me the names of the people who are coming so that we can run the background checks. It very well may be a new policy that the administration has imposed, and there may be sound logic behind it. I just do not know, but I am sorry that we haven't been in more frequently. So that's we're working through Mac. That's the short answer, per the direction of Director Williams. So hopefully we will have a report for you if we get to have that visit this week. I don't believe we need any action on, Lynn, do we need action on the discussion that we just had?
I don't think you're really taking any action.
I don't think so either. Agenda item number 6 is discussion and possible action regarding a report from the Recruitment and Retention of Staff Subcommittee concerning employee surveys and potential incentives. And Pastor Douglas, I believe you are now the person to defer to on this, since Pastor Scobie, who I believe was the chair, you're the vice chair. Aaron, you're recognized.
All right, here we go. Well, the most concrete action emerging out of this subcommittee is the development of a survey, which I know that we've talked about, I believe, at the last couple of meetings. And so that survey is now completed. It has been vetted and approved by our subcommittee. I think we all feel really, really confident with the quality of questions in the survey. And now next steps are working with staff at the detention center in terms of timing and just honestly timing in terms of disseminating the survey to employees. The incentive piece has been a little bit of a slight hiccup, and so that's why additional conversations are being had with staff about whether or not that is something worth building into the survey. And that incentive includes a couple of really generous offers from Pastor Scobie and his church in partnership with World Vision to provide some furniture for individuals who opt to give their name and contact information as a part of the survey. So we've just been working kind of behind the scenes to make sure that that is legal and allowed before we move forward with that survey.
Any questions, comments, related discussion?
Do we have any plan on how these surveys are going to be administered? And maybe it might help if I'm like a little more clear. Who will when they take the survey? Who will they send them back to?
So the survey has been built in SurveyMonkey. So all of the data will be aggregated in SurveyMonkey. The actual link will be sent out from a staff member of the detention center. And so once that survey has been sent out, they'll be given a certain amount of time. What we have discussed is at least 2 weeks, just to allow for shift turnover and those kinds of things. At the conclusion of the 2 weeks, all of that data will then be compiled, will be shared with our subcommittee, which will then be shared with all of you. And I presented to the jail trust board members that data will also be shared with them as well.
Okay. My only concern was I just want to make sure that people feel free to be as forthcoming as possible, and that that they're not given the impression that this will be sent to their direct supervisor or something along those lines.
So we've made it clear on the survey, bold red letters up at the top, that this survey is confidential. With exception of if we decide to build in the incentives, then people have the option of obviously including their contact information, which does align to their responses, right? But staff members will have the ability to make that determination on their own.
Okay.
Seeing no additional questions or discussion, we would entertain a motion to accept the report. Motion has been made and seconded. Please vote. The motion passes. Agenda item number 7 is discussion and possible action regarding a report from Community Relationship Subcommittee.
Awesome. So we have 3 new members added to our Community Relationship Subcommittee. Those are Darwin Romani, I'll always say his name right, Marquise Miller, and Wainima Ray. I'm learning, make sure I say their names correctly, but we have our next meeting October 26th, 2 Wednesdays from now at 10:45 a.m. in this same room. And we're, excited to have their new energy and heard more about each of their individual stories. And I know that they bring a lot to our Community Relationship Subcommittee, and we're looking forward to building out how we can better those relationships with the community. So,
thank you for that report, Hannah. It is a report, so we will entertain a motion in a second to accept the report. Motion passes. Agenda item number 8, discussion and possible action regarding Citizen Advisory Board recommendations to the Jail Trust. We are going to keep this on the agenda so that we can be reminded of what our job is. And I think some really positive things are developing within all of the subcommittees and the work that's being conducted there. But since we're on this agenda item, I think it would be important. Hannah, you brought this up initially. I think it would be important for our subcommittees because I really feel like that's where the meat of the work will be hashed out, that we review recommendations from prior advisory boards and prior subcommittees that have done really great work on what's necessary to kind of achieve our goal of improving operations and making sure the policies and procedures are where they need to be, making sure we're doing all we can to take care of staff and also communicate back into the community. So we're going to at least recirculate the recommendations that have been developed with some encouragement to each of our subcommittees to start really thinking about some tangible recommendations that we could put together in a formal presentation to the Jail Trust at the appropriate time. Other thoughts, ideas, discussion regarding the recommendations that we are charged to present to the Jail Trust?
I'll just say I appreciate you bringing those recommendations back up. Francie Ekwekwu, Nicole McAfee, lots of folks worked really hard. Adriana Laws on putting those together. And so I know I keep them on my desk, and I don't have my cab notebook with me this morning, but that's usually what I have with me. So if anyone needs them, I know they're on our agenda from that initial meeting when we put them in there, so they should be on the county website. But yeah, I think there's a lot of great stuff on there and good kicking off points for each of our subcommittees. So thanks for bringing it up, Chris.
Gotcha. Seeing no additional discussion, I don't think we need to take action. We don't, no, yeah, we'll just have a discussion. Agenda item number 9 is discussion and possible action regarding the adoption of a regular meeting schedule for this Citizens Advisory Board for the calendar year 2023. Lynn, I'm going to defer to you. Are the dates there at the bottom? Is that what we're looking? Oh, they're in the attachment. Gotcha.
Correct. And we've had some discussion of potentially accepting the same time for this year. That's what's in the proposed regular meeting schedule. We are pretty much limited to Wednesdays, but we may be able to shift our time just a little bit if there's a will of the board to do that. We don't have a confirmation at this moment of another specific time. So we do have time to wait until next month to adopt a meeting if there is a will to try and change your time. I didn't want to leave it too long to discuss because we do have to do it by December 15th if we want these to be regularly scheduled meetings for next year as opposed to these special meetings, which is not always real clear as to what the difference is, but you're limited sometimes as to what you can do in a special meeting as to what you could do in a regular meeting. For example, if you have new business that arises after your agenda is posted, if you have a regularly scheduled meeting, you can handle that because you didn't have advance notice of it. So that's all I have for you
Thank
to
you, Lynn.
consider.
Always appreciate
Is there desire to adopt this time for the calendar year 2023, or do we need to have some discussion, Ryan?
Yeah, I'd like to wait till a later date to just see if we can't get a later time. In talking with Lynn, we don't get any public comment, and I can't help but think I don't think 9 o'clock is that early. But if it's possible for us to meet a little later, in the event that might get a little more public comment, I think it's kind of the point of why we're here. And so I'm totally good with the dates, but if we could maybe get some other times to consider. I mean, I kind of like the idea of it not taking up a big chunk at the middle of my day, but at the same time, I think we should probably weigh those two things.
Well, I have gotten confirmation that 10 o'clock is available if you want to consider that time. That looks like a later time available. Yes, sir.
Is there anything available in the afternoon? I think to what Ryan said, that we may have a better or more participation from public if it's an afternoon as opposed to in the morning.
We can consider that. We have to have availability obviously in the room, and we have to have staff availability to service the times. So you're looking for a time after afternoon. Okay. All right. We'll look at that. Thank you.
My thought is maybe just it might be nice to just push it off for another month, because it may be that if we talk to some people who have been parts of these types of meetings before, the afternoon doesn't necessarily provide more public comment than 10 o'clock would. I mean, I just think that we should weigh better participation from the public with our own schedules.
I think there's wisdom in what you're suggesting. I think it's a great idea, and I think Pastor Douglas, I think your comments are very valid as well. I think we should, to Ryan's point, maybe seek some input. I don't know if it's rush hour that may be causing some people to not be able to make it here on time, or if just mornings aren't the rhythm of those who would normally want to participate or could otherwise participate. But I'm I appreciate you saying this, and I think that it's a good idea. There's wisdom in putting this off for a month and giving us a chance to kind of think.
There's also a 9 o'clock criminal docket that makes the security a pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Lynn, do we need a motion to put this off?
I think it would be most appropriate.
Okay. There is a motion and a second
To defer, yeah.
to defer.
The November 9th, our next meeting.
Yeah, so the motion is to table this agenda item until our next special meeting. Motion passes. Agenda item number 10 is our next scheduled meeting will take place on Wednesday, November the 9th at 9 a.m. Agenda item number 11 is the next round of meetings for each of our subcommittee. And just to say these out loud, I think everyone can read, but for those who may be watching, the next meeting for the recruitment and retention of staff subcommittee will take place on November 23rd at 9 a.m. The community relationship subcommittee will take place November 23rd at 10:45 a.m. The policies and procedures subcommittee will take place on November 16th at 2:15 p.m. and the operations subcommittee will take place at 2:30 or immediately following the policies and procedures subcommittee on November the 16th.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. And this was brought up at our last recruitment and retention of staff subcommittee meeting. There's such a broad span of time between the one subcommittee and the next one. And I know that there's a lot of us that serve on both. Is now an appropriate time to talk about adjusting that time to be, I know that the other two, I believe you all have made that adjustment some time ago, and I think it's super wise because it's just a lot to hang out for a good hour and a half, in essence, between, or an hour-ish between subcommittee meetings. So I don't know if now's an appropriate time to make those adjustments. Can I bring that up?
Those should be addressed directly in the subcommittee meetings. And
Okay.
We will
Okay.
be addressing those
Okay,
as to when your scheduling is going to happen for those as well.
gotcha. Thank you.
So, Lynn, to be clear, that discussion will take place in the subcommittee itself, not in the.
Yes, each subcommittee works at setting their own calendar because the members have to be able to be there.
Okay. So we'll have to do the current schedule one more time, at least, to be able to correct it.
Well, it's possible because these are special meetings. I can work with the subcommittee chairs and vice chairs to work on that.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. And seriously, how many times are we going to validate Ryan Nahaney's wisdom in this meeting today? Love it.
Yeah, I did, Mr. Person. I just wanted to know, we're looking at the retention staff subcommittee on the 23rd. Is this a place and time that I can recommend us not having that on the day before Thanksgiving?
I think
The same thing.
I think it's very appropriate, but so as I understand it, Lynn, we have the chairs and you will be the acting chair. Has the wherewithal to cancel the meeting.
At least recommend it.
Well, so actually, our next community relationships is 2 weeks from now, right? October 26th.
As is the recruitment and retention
10:45.
of staff.
So you have the opportunity at those meetings to change the November dates.
Correct.
Correct.
But you don't have to be in a meeting for the chair or the vice chair
To
to
adjust.
suggest a meeting change, especially not when you have them set up as special meetings. So we can deal with that. It's not inappropriate for you to discuss it here, but we can't really necessarily make those decisions here for the subcommittees.
Just to be clear, if people are following from home, we're having meetings this month and the subcommittees. So these aren't the dates for the next meetings. October 26th. Hannah, when you have that?
Community relationships and recruitment and retention of staff on October 26th. And then I think while we're getting crossed is because some are meeting quarterly and some are meeting monthly. Is that right? So that might be just where we've got November, but so we will, and as Lynn mentioned, if you're a chair of a subcommittee wishing to adjust your dates, you can do so before that November meeting. We will address it in our subcommittee, probably for community relationships, just as we spoke about it in our previous meeting too. So
Sorry about those errors.
Don't.
I didn't realize.
there's
them.
only a few committees and a few dates that you would need to keep up with. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Doing great. But just to be clear, the next meeting, the next scheduled meeting for the recruitment and retention of staff subcommittee will take place on October the 26th at 9 a.m. And the next scheduled meeting for the community relationship subcommittee will take place on October the 26th at 10:45
Correct.
a.m.
Yep, that is correct. Thank you.
Okay. We don't need action to announce those. Agenda item number 12 is a motion to adjourn. That motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you all for being here this morning.